The Gauteng Health Department could be hauled to court over its failure to compensate some of the families who lost their loved ones in the Life Esidimeni tragedy. Now, back in 2018, former Deputy Chief Justice Dikgang Moseneke ordered the compensation of families of the 144 mentally ill patients who died after being moved from Life Esidimeni facilities. Moseneke ordered compensation of just over R1 million to be paid to each family, but the legal representatives of some families say millions are still owed to their clients, and they're now threatening legal action. Attorney Ulrich Roux joins us now for more on this story. And Ulrich, what a moment that was in our country's history, listening to the testimonies there at those hearings into the Life Esidimeni tragedy. It just feels like such a slap in the face that now 2 years later, the families of those people who died, who have already been through so much, have still not been compensated.
Hi, good morning, Michelle. Thank you for having me on the show. Yes, indeed. I think, all of us will remember how Deputy Chief Justice Dikgang Moseneke, who was the appointed arbitrator during those proceedings, broke down in tears after hearing some of the horrific testimony about how these patients, mentally ill patients, were treated in such an inhumane and barbaric way. Yes, and during the proceedings, evidence was adduced which showed severe recklessness on behalf of the Gauteng government, and the families of the victims of the Life Esidimeni tragedy were awarded 1.18 million rands in compensation as a result of the death and suffering of these patients. And as you correctly point out, I act on behalf of 101 of those families who have still not received payment in full. Yet payment was supposed to be made by the 18th of June 2018. So 2 years down the line, and government has true to form, and when one looks at their track record, not adhered to the arbitration award that was made.
So Ulrich, you say that payment has still not been made in full. Does this mean that some of the funds have been received?
Yes, some of our clients have received some funds. They have received part payment, but payment in full has not been made. And a total of just under 65 million rand is still due to our clients. And we have sent a letter of demand to the Gauteng government, placing them on terms and requesting payment by 14 August. Should they not make payment by that date, we will then proceed to the South African High Court in order to make the arbitration award an order of court. And should the government then still elect not to pay, then we will be bringing an application to hold them in contempt of a High Court order, and then executing that order in order to try and recover some of the funds which is lawfully due to our clients.
Absolutely. And just in terms of, I'm sure you've had discussions, various correspondents with the government in Gauteng. What is behind the delay?
Well, in fact, we have not had any discussions. We sent off our letter of demand last week, Monday, and 10 days later, we have not even received an acknowledgement of our letter. Yes, yet government is making statements to the media pertaining to their non-payments. I think that, in our view and in our clients' view, government is completely misinterpreting the arbitration award. And if government has a problem with the award that was made, they should have brought an application to have the award set aside, or brought an application to appeal the award. Yet they haven't done so. They have unilaterally decided that they are just not going to make payment to our clients, and one obviously cannot do so. If you dispute an arbitration award which was handed down by one of the most respected legal minds in our country, then you have certain avenues to pursue in order to try and test the validity of that award. Yet they haven't done so. It's more than 2 years after the award was made, and here we sit, and our clients are suffering. It was tremendous suffering as a result of the senseless ending of that service level agreement of Life Esidimeni. We heard horrific testimony of how patients died due to starvation, how they were forced to eat paper, cardboard, how they were treated in the most inhumane ways. And yet government just ignores that and ignores the lawful arbitration award that was handed down.
So Ulrich, you're saying that there's been no communication on the part of government with the families of the victims, those people who are still owed some 65 million rand?
Not since we've come on record, and not since we've been approached by the families to act on their behalf. Our letter of demand was formally served. It was received by the Gauteng Premier, the Gauteng Premier's office. As I said, they've made statements to the media, but they have not contacted us in any manner whatsoever. If they don't contact us or they don't make payment by the 14th of August, they leave us with no option but to approach the High Court yet again, and we will be seeking to take that order against them, as well as seeking legal costs against them, because there's absolutely no reason furnished thus far as to why they should not be making payment in terms of the arbitration award handed down.
Yeah. Ulrich, before we let you go, you've outlined that the amount to be received by each of these families. Just give me the amount again. You said 1.1 million rand. What does that translate to into actual money received, well, once the money is paid in any event?
So the arbitrator, Deputy Chief Justice Moseneke, made it clear that all the parties affected by the tragedy would be entitled to claim 1.18 million rand in damages suffered as a result of the Gauteng government's actions. Some of those payments have been made in half to our clients, and there is a breakdown of that we have attached to our letter of demand to the Gauteng government, whereas other clients have not received any payment whatsoever. So if one totals all of the outstanding funds still due to our clients, it totals just under 65 million rand, and that is on behalf of 101 of the affected families.
All right, Ulrich Roux, thanks very much as always for your time on the AM report. Let's hope we can get this situation sorted out, get a response from the government in Gauteng about why these payments have not yet been made. 101 clients owed, some of them have been paid in part, but in total owed around 65 million rand. They've now, the legal representatives for these families have now sent a letter of demand to the government in Gauteng to pay those outstanding monies by the 14th of August. If that doesn't happen, Ulrich Roux, who represents some of those families, will be taking the matter to the High Court.